management taking kwa mono na emana that Reverend Father ahụ dele mgbe ahụ mee o jigo ekwuchi okwu mee Father Joy Nwebe ji wee reply ya o jigo indirect wee mee gịnị ka ọ bịa gwa Father Joy Nwebe na anọ makwa anya na mala nke alọrọ alọ. So with us being so kind and being legend us being so go ka isi inyo anya n'ihe na-aga na enwere okwu ode ya wijikwa anya okenye ji enye na akpagbu na-enyekwa anya bụ okwu wee sịkwa ka bịa gwakwa ya ndị mmadụ na gịnị na ya nwekwu makwa anya na-ele malụ nke alọrọ alọ. Gee ntị gị ihe our brother Rev Father Chidi Philip dey regarding that na Father Joy Nwebe salia maka okwu kwuru na ndị ekpele mos kpai nke ọzọ amere ọna because unu pay attention to details na mara na Father Joy Nwebe kwuchara ihe. This is somebody who has never come out to condemn ihe na-eme na Nigeria, whether na-eme Christian genocide or not or gbasara ya. He's never been paying attention to it. So see the after morning prayer. Maybe he has been doing that in his own private place and to the people that he represents and the people that are loyal to him. So even at that, Mbaka said that he's looking up to native bad government. Most of the Reverend Fathers in Ekubo bad government, all of a sudden they started speaking against it. So but the father Father Joy Nwebe was the only father that responded. Now more as in here Father Joy Nwebe Joy responded that two things that involved there. One, because of picture Reverend Father came back out there. Two, because picture not there. That was why inside these two things, one reason not in between him and respond. Another responded because no like it can Father Chidi. No like it here, and I broke no believe name. So even in that reply, he replied to him as Guinea as I have to beg the knowledge on way that na him come out that I know but no a son in the ministry na Father Joy Nwebe toliato in ministry. So without not wasting much of your time, again taking here this Reverend Father Kwasi. When Christianity was Christianity, a newly converted Paul can stand before Peter, the first pope, and challenge him to his face, not out of rebellion, but out of love for the gospel. In other words, na mgbe gospel bụ gospel, anyị na-maka Paul si wee bido nke ya. Ntago. Anyị na-maka Paul si wee bido. Saul onye nwa mecha abụrụ Paul. So onye akụ na-ekwena na mgbe ezitiri n'okwu ụkwa na Paul kwulugodo n'iru Peter gwa Peter ihe Peter mere adịrọ mma, that na ha ya afia as a love for the church, not because na Paul enwe na nkụ mana n'ụwa kịta na ọnwụzi ka Paul si confront Peter asị na Paul enwe na nkụ na ọta ebe dị okwu na-aga. So in other words, he referring as newly ordained ndị mana nyanwa ọsọ ka celebrate 10 months ordination ya mbosi in a few weeks ago. So I thought you quite ahead before nkwe nke karịrị ọnụ mụ na emekwa m attack kunu square mem, but that's by the way. You attack you go tell him ụdị okpu a ka nchọzi kịta ụdị okpu anya dị ihe na-agụzi m kịta. Alright, today many believers tremble before human authorities, but the early church tremble only before God. Unafugo mehe theological all those things so he's emphasizing on human beings are trembling before human authorities now more than before the presence of God. Or the early church before. If Paul had kept quiet, hypocrisy could have regained. If Peter has been worshipped instead of corrected, the church would have stumbled. But God used a man with no rank, no merit, no cathedral, just conviction to speak fire into the hearts of the one choosing to lead the flock that is Christianity. In other words, now Peter Paul and cathedral or one of followers or one able busy, just that encounter he had with God changed him and convinced him, so he was speaking with authority because he had an encounter. That was why he was able to talk to Peter. And kudos to Peter alone to discern that no yana aguyoko and akwana aguyoko out of Ale. And kudos to the early church kahada afonia kahasena Paul, because now even is that even if Peter and Agoku did not notice, ndị na-eso ya sị na fekwa ka onye asị agwago okwu by then obido reason with meaning into it before I na-eme na ọsịwa ọgụ mmụọ ka ị na-agwọ na onye kwa onye na notice ro the thing from the beginning. So ka a na-ekpele Peter ekpele ka a na-ekpekwala his followers ekpele. Now most times Peter may not react mana ndị followers ya sị na info onye ha kwụ na onye kwesịrị ọkwa na ịgwago okwu dị otu a na nghọta ebe ahụ ya bụ ofu aka lụta mma na ozu aka niile. Then I say, so when I see people raising their voices today, I do not see rebellion. I see echo of Antioch. I see the courage of those who refuse to call darkness light. What is wrong is wrong, whether spoken by a priest, a bishop, a pastor, prophet, or politician, and what is sinful remains sinful, even if 1,000 voices says otherwise. Now, in other words, he's still pointing blame at that thing. So he's still pointing hands at that thing that he is standing on his right. So no enemy that he's still standing by it. Also, that he still remains that God has never been silent, and he has never limited his voices to certain uniform. He has used shepherd boys, slaves in exile, fishermen, tax collectors, widows, and even pagans to deliver his message. God can use a layman to correct a pastor, priest. Now, now for you like him, this part also that God can use a layman to correct even a pastor and a priest. So why are they not seeing Nebuchadnezzar regarding some of the alone church has seen again the reverend sister as a layman that he shouldn't say it, but this is you now pointing finger that now God can use even a layman to correct a priest or a pastor. Everybody in this social media everybody here one after the other. My duty is here to come and give you guys the update in amen. So that don't be quick to criticize people. I've always tell somebody say again, pray that in this life you will not be tested by something you criticize. One day I will bring out time can explain only this thing. No why so that you will not be tested by the same thing that you criticize. So don't worry, I think that would be I would think I have to write it down somewhere so that we'll remember and talk about it. Always again, also he can use a priest to rebuke a bishop. He can use a bishop to rebuke the pope. He can use a stranger to warn a prophet. Truth is not owned by any office. It is owned by God alone. Since in the face of error, silence in the face of error is not holiness. The early church understood this, which is why they grew in power, not politics. They confronted sin, not just sinners. They defended doctrine, not personal ego. If Paul could correct Peter, who then is above correction today? Let everyone who carries the name of Christ, lay or ordain, stand for truth without fear. If the church is truly the body of Christ, then its health depends on every part speaking, acting, and resisting corruption wherever it appears. God can speak through anyone, and sometimes the voice we refuse to listen to, the voice we refuse to listen to is the one God sent to save us. When it is your time to be used by God, please do not resist. Speak the truth with love. Be charitable, and be charitable with your ways when the situation demands. Yours truly, Reverend Father Philip Chidi Prince. And again, I only understand that God can use anybody. So I like the fact that this message is gradually hitting everybody. I like the fact to mention layman twice. So that how you be layman so that they should know that indeed God can use anybody. And I love the fact because the voice we refuse to listen to can be that voice that God is sending to save us. Is it not a high time we people should follow one no Igbo, bo evangelist, bo a soldier in the battlefield with this love you people are emphasizing on? and this act of mercy you guys always throw around in your various posts. Emekwana nwoke ka emere ibe ya n'obi kwesịkwana ịdị ya mma. So on that note, we've come to the end of this one, so that na onwekwe ihe ọzọ enwe ike tinye na comment section. God one mgbe ọzọ, ndị bye.